Alright, that is Dead Cells finished up. I love this game so much. Gonna give it a 9.7 in my review. But the review, it's due tomorrow. The embargo, I gotta hit this. IGN's gotta be one of the first to get the review out. Man, but I don't want to sit down in front of my computer and type up some paragraphs. It's just hard work. Video game journalism and reviewing games, it's just so hard. We get games sent to us for free. I get paid to write about them, but it's so difficult sometimes. Well, you know what? I just don't have time to spend writing this review. I got better things I need to do. Let me just see if anybody has their reviews up. That's right. The embargo's tomorrow. GameStop, Kind of Funny Games, all the big websites, they're not going to have their review available. But hold on one second. Small YouTubers. Yes, let me just type Dead Cells into the review bar. Boomstick Gaming.
Dead Cells takes the progression of a Metroidvania and integrates it into this procedurally generated action roguelite
You
that has you
saved
slowly
my
chipping
job,
away at its steep
Boomstick Gaming.
difficulty.
Thank you very much. What's going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, Man with a Million, back again with another video. Now, we posted a review of Dead Cells yesterday, but unfortunately, nobody decided to plagiarize my review. Sad times, I know indeed. But that's what we are going to be talking about in this video, is plagiarism, and the fact that IGN decided to lift a review from a smaller YouTuber by the name of Boomstick Gaming. Now, I'm going to have his video linked in the description. Make sure you check it out. Go over there, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to. Seems like a really cool dude with some great content, who unfortunately has kind of been thrusted into the spotlight, or fortunately, as his channel is blowing up, because, well, IGN thought it would be a good idea to basically lift the content, the structure of his review wholeheartedly. And you know the weirdest thing about it is that the guy who wrote the review for IGN, you know what? He didn't think anybody would find out. Like, nobody watches IGN stuff or something. But let's actually listen to a few quotes in Boomstick Gaming's video so we can kind of properly judge everything that's going on here. And I'll be right back.
First off, this is the Boomstick Gaming, that's myself. Let's go ahead and start. Dead Cells takes the progression of a Metroidvania and integrates it into this procedurally generated action roguelite that has you slowly chipping away at its steep difficulty.
It takes the progression system of a Metroidvania and transforms it into a procedurally generated action roguelite.
Okay, not that similar. Some similarities. Let's proceed. In Dead Cells, you'll need to kill your way through a labyrinth of levels, all punctuated by boss encounters that starts off quite linear, but the more you play, the more routes and game mechanics will open up to you.
In Dead Cells, you fight your way through an ever-changing labyrinth of levels with branching paths.
You might not be able to make it to the final boss on your current run, but if you can manage to salvage some blueprints for some new gear, or better yet, an ability-altering rune, it makes it all worth your while, even if you can see your death just around the corner. This is the type of roguelite that, yeah, sure, you could beat the boss on your first attempt, but you're probably not going to and you're not supposed to. Let's stop there, let's see what Philip has to say next.
You're almost guaranteed not to make it all the way through on every run, but as your efforts lead you to blueprints that unlock new gear, it makes it all worth your while.
Okay, switch over to me. In most games of this genre, your coolest skills and spells are often set to strictly long recharge timers or a limited mana system. But in Dead Cells, your abilities have incredibly quick recharges and allow you to seamlessly integrate these gadgets into normal encounters, and it doesn't make you feel penalized for using your cool stuff.
Most games limit your most useful skills with long cooldown timers or a limited mana system, but Dead Cells encourages you to use your deadliest gadgets with a fast recharge timer. It never punishes you for using your best tactics.
Okay, this is one of my favorites here, this part. This combat system is fast, fluid, responsive, and one of the most rewarding representations of 2D combat of the entire genre.
Fights are fast, fluid, responsive, and hands down one of the most gratifying representations of video game combat I've ever experienced.
So it's starting to get a little fishy, huh? Also in place is a mutation system that has you pick from various buffs that can enhance and alter your abilities, but
system, which adds another layer of diversity to how you can play. This is where you can choose from various buffs that enhance and alter your abilities.
Alright, stellar writing, Philip. Dead Cells only falters slightly with some repetition setting in, especially on the early areas and during longer play sessions.
Dead Cells does falter slightly with some repetition, but it's only felt in its earlier areas and during extended play sessions.
The enemy designs here are interesting and fun to fight, but in the first level alone, you'll probably have killed the same enemy about 50 times already, and that same enemy will be used throughout various levels.
While early level enemies are a good introduction and make for fun and interesting fights early on, you can only kill so many zombies before it starts feeling a little stale.
The game does, however, encourage you to rush through repeat areas by having timed gates that lock after a certain amount of time has passed, and if you're playing like a speedrunner, you'll be rewarded, and this helps alleviate some of that repetition I mentioned.
Speedrunning is not only encouraged, but it's embedded as its own game mechanic. Almost every level has a door that will unlock after a certain amount of time elapses.
Alright, and last but not least, we have my absolute favorite, which starts at 3:07 on both videos exactly. Dead Cells figures out an intriguing way to have your roguelite and Metroidvania experience all in one by focusing on your failures and urging you to try something new the next time.
Dead Cells strikes a perfect and engaging balance between the Metroidvania and roguelite experiences by focusing on your failures and urging you to experiment each time.
Now, after listening to the very first comparison, you might start thinking to yourself, you know what, this isn't really plagiarism. The beginning of the review sounds a little bit similar, and as a reviewer myself, I get sent these press kits from the developers of the game, and a lot of people do use them in the intro of their videos, so I understand the kind of similarity there. But as the video goes on, and as the structure of both reviews mirror each other, and the phrasing, one of the most important things is that Philip just lifts phrases exactly verbatim from Boom, and it's just like, dude, what in the world were you thinking? You work at IGN, the biggest gaming website out there. Millions of people are going to watch your review. Did you honestly think nobody was going to find out that you were copying somebody else's content, that it wouldn't get back to you? And this is a huge black mark for IGN. They have to address this, and I know if you go to IGN's website, the review is taken down pending investigation. They even called it a disaster last night, and plagiarism is no joking matter. I know we're joking around about this, but it is a serious offense, especially if you're in school. If anybody out here has been to college, trying to get your bachelor's degree or your master's, plagiarism, you could get kicked out of school, you could get kicked out of your program, you could fail your class, and this is something they teach you. And especially if you're going into journalism and you're plagiarizing someone, that's even a bigger offense. But for IGN, this is a huge black mark, because now, while the entire company didn't know about it, obviously, it's just the act of a single person, it still stains the credibility of IGN. Now people are wondering if any of their other reviews have been plagiarized, things like that. So yes, what they're gonna have to do is they're gonna have to fire this dude, unfortunately. He works in a field that is about reviewing games, and he just caught maybe doing the worst thing you could possibly do, and that's lifting someone else's review verbatim without crediting whatsoever, trying to pass off his review as, his own when it was clearly somebody else's. I mean, that is pretty disgusting if you ask me, as a reviewer myself. Look, and somebody asked me, how would I feel if IGN had plagiarized my review, or anybody else for that matter, if somebody else came along and was like, listen, or I discovered it on YouTube, you know what, someone just wholeheartedly lifted one of my videos and copied it and said it was their own. You know what, I'd probably feel two different types of emotions. If it was IGN, I would kind of feel flattered that the biggest gaming website out there decided that my review was good enough for them to actually use as their own. Like, oh man, it was a great review, so much so that this dude over here at IGN was like, you know what, I'm gonna use it, and millions of people are gonna see it. And I would feel flattered to a certain extent, but then I also would feel pissed off, because this isn't my full-time job. I do this as a hobby. I do it because I love video games. I have the Ranzity spotlights that I do for indie games that I know aren't going to get a lot of views and they aren't going to make any money through the ads or whatever, but I do it because I enjoy I enjoy spreading the word about great indie titles. And I also review the big AAAs as well, but I really take pride in the smaller titles because they need more attention, and Dead Cells is a game that is amazing. So I would feel pissed off that some dude who gets paid for a living to play video games and writes for the biggest website decided to crib my work and pass it off as my own. So at one point I'd be flattered, yes, but I also would be pissed off at the same time. So it is a very, very weird situation all around, and I'm not sure when IGN is going to properly respond, but they probably have to fire the guy to, maintain their integrity. But then I've also seen people say, oh, what if it's coincidence? What if it's just one big giant coincidence? And I've thought about that too, but the structure of both reviews are identically similar. They hit the same points from front to back. They use similar phrasing, not just single words, but sentences are lifted, which just, says to me, it means that the dude watched it. And Boomstick's review was out a good week beforehand. I know most of the reviews were embargoed till yesterday, and if, his review came out the same time as IGN's, obviously you wouldn't be able to see it, but Boom put out his review first, so clearly this dude could have seen it. And man, I would hate to be in charge of the executive editor board at IGN right now. I think Dan Stapleton runs that, and trying to figure out exactly what to do, because now every time you post a review, every time you do a live stream, people are just going to be in the chat and the comment section saying, is this plagiarized? Did you copy this? Is this somebody else's work? It's a nasty mark for them. But honestly, I wouldn't give IGN too much crap for it. There's no way everybody there knew what happened. It's just the one guy, Philip, and he's gonna get what's coming to him, because plagiarism is a huge offense, and honestly, he should be fired for that. IGN has to fire him to protect their integrity, and if he, in any other professional setting, he would be terminated. So unfortunately, that's what happens. But hey, show your support to Boom. Make something good out of this whole scenario. Go over to his channel, watch his videos, thumb up his content, and hit that subscribe button. I think he has already gone up 12,000 subs today. I'm sure he's probably happy with all the exposure. So let's turn this negative kind of story with IGN copying a smaller YouTuber into a positive thing for, a random dude on the internet. Now his channel's blown up and he has a whole bunch of new people checking him out. So there's always kind of a silver lining here. So screw IGN, screw Philip for what he did, but great. I actually watched Boom's review, and it was awesome. I understand why IGN dude lifted that review, because it was a damn solid review, and I actually subbed to Boom too, because that review sold me over. Anyways, guys, that is the video for now. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, hit the sub button, hit the notification bell if you always want to be notified when I drop future content. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Later, guys.